Hello, and welcome to the Valley. Today, I am your host, Janet Michael. We are back on the Zooms today with Melanie Mullinax. She is the Communications and Events Manager for the State Arboretum of Virginia at Blandy Experimental Farm. Tim Farmer would be so proud of me, Melanie. I hope he's still around and still listens to the show. And every time he hears me say that and say it correctly, that he gives himself a little pat on the back.
That's awesome.
Today, we are going to talk about an event that you have coming up at Blandy. So Jack Monstead is joining us. He is the assistant curator of the Native Plant Trail. So you're doing an event on the 13th of September, Melanie, called Pawpaws and Pints, which has piqued my curiosity.
We're really excited about it. It's the first time we'll be hosting an event like this on September 13th, as you said, from 1 to 5 p.m. And we're going to take people out to our new pawpaw trail that we have to introduce and help people learn more about pawpaws that were here on the property back in the 1930s. But we're trying to make it both educational and fun as well. And we're calling it Pawpaws and Pints because we actually have a brewery. Winchester Brew Works is actually making a special beer for us made out of pawpaw. It's pawpaw beer. And with your ticket to come to the event and learn more about the pawpaws, you also get to taste the pawpaw beer.
It seems like such an odd thing, but if anybody's going to make a beer out of pawpaws, it's going to be my girls at Winchester Brew Works. Jack, pawpaws are having a moment. I knew what they were. My husband has had them before. He grew up on the north end of the county where they grew wild, I suppose. So as a kid, he's had them. I've never had them, but people are discovering them and are loving them, I understand.
Yeah, so pawpaws, they're a really fascinating fruit. They are actually America's largest wild edible fruit. So they're these really cool fruits that grow on native trees that grow in the forests all around Virginia and all throughout the Appalachians. They're decent size. They're about the size of a large pear, and they taste like a mix of bananas and mangoes is how I usually like to describe it. They have a custardy texture. They're super interesting. And of course, they're all ripe. They're all ready to eat right around the time of the Pawpaw Fest here in early September. So we'll definitely have some pawpaws for folks to try at the event. Yeah, it'll be a great opportunity for people to acquaint themselves with a really cool local delicacy.
Is it unusual that these have been growing at Blandy since the 1930s? That seems like a really long time for something to be in a place and grow that way.
Yeah, so the history of the pawpaws at Blandy is actually pretty fascinating. Back in 1915 or so, there was actually a nationwide contest put on by a geneticist nearby to find the tastiest pawpaw in America. So they had 75 people send in their pawpaws from all around the country. He rated them all and how tasty they were, how big the fruits were, and the winning fruits, he actually sent some of the winning seeds right to the first director of Blandy back in 1926. So we started the Pawpaw Grove back then, and they've been growing the pawpaws out ever since, but we kind of lost track of it for a while, and now we're rediscovering our Pawpaw Grove that we have.
That's what I hear from people who are discovering them on their property. A couple of years ago, I had a friend who didn't know what they were and picked one, took it to a master gardener friend that they had, and then they told them what it was, and they had no idea it was just growing wild on their property. And so the master gardener was very excited. They were all happy about, oh my gosh, you've got these. Do you know what you have? It's a big deal.
Yeah, they're super cool. And they grow in the wild all over the place, really. Once you know what to look for, if you go for a hike in the woods, you're on the Appalachian Trail, you're in a state park, you'll start seeing them once you know what they are. They're these really fascinating small trees, and they grow in big clumps. You always call it a pawpaw patch because they grow in one big clonal clump. They put out a whole bunch of suckers. They only have the fruits on them that are ripe in early September, but they're really fascinating trees. And that's not uncommon what you described, folks, to have a backwood lot somewhere and they have a bunch of pawpaws growing back there and they didn't even know.
This particular friend had a creek that ran through their property, and they were trying to clear out some of the space around the creek, and they found it and just thought it was the weirdest thing and didn't know what it was. And lo and behold, from what I gather, it was a gold mine, because once word got out that they had pawpaws, friends they didn't even know they had were calling them.
Yeah, they oftentimes in the wild will grow right near creeks like you described, and those are often some of the best yielding patches too. It's always fun.
Do you know how they got their name? It seems like such an odd name.
So I've heard multiple stories. The one that seems to be agreed upon by several different sources is that early settlers saw the big fruits and thought they were maybe a relative of the papaya because they knew about papayas already. So they just started calling them pawpaw, and then the pawpaw kind of came off of that. It is what I've heard, but as with many of these names, there's a lot of folklore surrounding it.
That's true. And when you have a name like Pawpaw, it
Uh-huh.
lends itself to all kinds of stories. What kinds of things can you do with them? Do you eat them raw? Do you cook them? Can you put them in things?
Yeah, so eating them raw is great. Like I said, they're a real custardy texture. They're very rich, very sweet. Usually don't want to eat too many of them if you're eating them raw, but they're really tasty. And they're also really good in baked goods. People have made pawpaw bread. It's really similar to like banana bread. They have that same kind of texture to them, but it has an interesting, funky flavor to it. So I've had pawpaw bread, really good. I've had pawpaw ice cream. Of course, pawpaw beer is good. There's all sorts of things you can do with pawpaws.
Melanie, I have to say, pawpaw beer sounds a little odd, but now that Jack has told me what their flavor combination is, I think that might work.
I think we will attract some additional people out so they can give that pawpaw beer a try.
Have you had pawpaws yourself?
I have. Actually, Jack let me taste one last year. It was the first time I had ever tasted a pawpaw. He brought one into my office last September when they were all nice and ripe. And that's the first time I had ever tasted them. And I really had not heard a lot about them before I came out here to Blandy.
And Jack, this event, people are going to be able to walk this trail, see what they look like, see where they grow. They're going to learn all about the history of them. It's educational and hands-on all at the same time.
That's exactly correct. We're going to take you all through the pawpaw trail, and you'll see all of the groves. You'll see how the plants are growing. You'll even be able to see some of the old tags, some of the original plantings that were made back in the 20s. We know roughly where they are. And these are award-winning pawpaws. There was only ever one pawpaw competition ever held in the country. And we got some of the seeds from the winning trees. You can brag to your friends that you've tasted the best pawpaws in America.
And then you'll have pawpaw seedlings available at this event that people can buy and take home and plant themselves.
That is the plan.
Yes, we're hoping to. Yes.
We've got some pawpaw seedlings we've been growing out from our own trees, and we also have a few partners that have pawpaw nurseries that should be bringing some trees to sell.
So that's cool. You can say you have award-winning, once removed pawpaw plants growing in your backyard.
Yes, that's true. That is true.
Melanie, you cannot go wrong with anything that is grown at Blandy. I have to give you props. My husband, when he found out that we were recording the show today, he goes, "Oh, tell her that my tomato plants that you got for Mother's Day are doing so well. So make sure she knows." I'm like, that would be Carrie. I'm
That would
talking
be
to
Carrie,
Melanie,
but
I
sure
will
she
tell
knows.
Melanie to tell Carrie.
I will.
Yes.
Yes.
She'll appreciate that.
Yeah, you guys really understand how all of this works. I guess it goes back to Jack when I introduced you as the assistant curator for the Native Plant Trail. You really got to know your stuff and what belongs where and what doesn't and how to make it be its best self.
Yeah, especially on the native plant trail, I always try to take cues from Mother Nature, as it were. When I find plants growing in the wild, I see what spaces they like to grow in, who they like to grow with, and try to emulate that in a lot of our gardens and a lot of our plantings here at Blandy. So yeah, there's always trial and error involved, as with any kind of gardening endeavor. But yeah, we're always learning new stuff here at Blandy Plants.
And Melanie, every event that you guys host always has some sort of educational component to it. Rarely do you just have an event because there's always, here's this really cool fun thing to do. Here's this really cool fun thing to see. Oh, and by the way, did you know? That's part of all of your events there at Blandy.
Yes, that's part of our mission to help educate people on nature and some of the wonderful things we have going on out here. And as with some of our other events, this does have a fundraising component too. And it's all tied together because this fundraising event will help us enrich and build out the new trail that we're building around the pawpaw area that we have. It's for trail enhancement as well.
Let's take a break. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about how do people get tickets, what that looks like. And then maybe, Jack, you can give me a little background on how one enhances a trail, because I know what my backyard looks like, and I'm sure yours is much more involved than mine. Can we talk a little bit about that in the next segment?
Sounds great.
We're on the Zooms today with Melanie Mullinax. She is the communications and events manager for the State Arboretum of Virginia at Blandy Experimental Farm. Jack Monstead is joining her. He is the assistant curator of the Native Plant Trail. We're talking about Tales on the Trail, Pawpaws and Pints, happening from 1 to 5 on Saturday, September 13th. We'll get more details for that when we come back in just a couple of minutes. In just one day, you can help shape a stronger, more connected community. On September 19th, United Way of Northern Shenandoah Valley will lead Day of Caring, the region's largest single-day volunteer event. Over 900 volunteers will roll up their sleeves to help local nonprofits with projects that matter. Painting classrooms, repairing shelters, planting gardens, organizing food pantries. Whether you're a business looking to sponsor, a nonprofit in need of an extra set of hands, or a neighbor ready to serve, there's a place for you on Day of Caring. This is what community looks like when we come together. This is care in action. Learn how to get involved at unitedwaynsv.org/dayofcaring or email dayofcaring@unitedwaynsv.org. One day, hundreds of hands, lasting impact. Join us. Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is Blandy Day on the show, so I am chatting with Melanie Mullinax. She is the communications and events manager for Blandy Experimental Farm. Joining her is Jack Monstead. He is the assistant curator for the Native Plant Trail, which is part of the Pawpaw Patch that has been rediscovered at Blandy. So they're hosting an event, Pawpaws and Pints, to celebrate, and then fundraising. You mentioned, Melanie, before we went to break, fundraising in order to build up that trail a little bit. So tell me a little bit more about this event. What can I expect when I get there? When is it? Do I need a ticket? Tell me all those details.
Okay, the event is on September 13th. It's from 1 to 5 p.m. We are breaking down our ticket sessions into two sessions, one of them from 1 to 3 p.m. and the other from 3 to 5 p.m. The tickets are $20 per person and do include a taste of pawpaw beer from Winchester Brew Works. It's important to know that we do have a limited number of tickets. We're only selling 120 tickets total. So it's important for people to get their tickets ahead of time if possible and schedule their preferred time frame from 1 to 3 or 3 to 5. Tickets can be bought on our website at blandy.virginia.edu. Right on our homepage, we have a big photograph of Pawpaw and Pints, and people can just click on that and find out how to get their tickets. We do have special tickets for people under 21, and those tickets, I believe, are $5 each. So we are selling an additional few tickets for people if they do want to bring their families to this event.
I would imagine, as with most events at Blandy, it's also a rain or shine event.
It is rain or shine. We do not have a rain date planned for this event, so it is rain or shine. We're going to have 6 educational stations, so you can go and visit 6 different tables and learn different things about pawpaws, including a pawpaw tasting, as you had mentioned before. It should just be a lot of fun.
So Jack was telling us during the break that it is a very finite season for pawpaws, that they are only ripe for a short period of time, and then they're only good after you pick them for a short period of time. So this is a once in a season opportunity to be able to try these.
That's correct. Yep. They don't have a long shelf life, so you got to get them while the getting's good. We'll have enough for everybody to try. So if you've always been curious, but you've never been able to grab the pawpaws right at their peak ripeness, we'll have some for you.
And then, Jack, you're going to have interpretive walks on this pawpaw trail where people can follow along and learn more about pawpaws, learn about how you found them, hear the story about how award-winning they are. So there's going to be a movement component to this as well.
Yes, absolutely. So the trail isn't terribly long. It's about a quarter-mile loop that we'll be walking all throughout the area. So it's just a really nice stroll through the woods. In addition to the pawpaw trees, there's some really beautiful old oak and hickory trees there to see. There's going to be a lot of wildlife. It's going to be a really nice nature walk, and we're going to learn all about pawpaws and their history of Blandy. So it should be a really enjoyable time, I think.
Melanie was telling us about the fundraising aspect of this, and that's important to be able to maintain these trails, not just so the public can come and learn and see, but you also need to have access to make sure that
Mhm.
things are being taken care of properly.
Yeah, so the fundraising aspect will go towards sort of improving the trail actually. So right now it's a primitive trail. It's just a basic dirt path through our Pawpaw Grove. But with a little bit of fundraising here, we're going to be working on establishing several interpretive signs to help folks who want to visit the trail on their own. The signs will explain what the pawpaws are, how to look for them, what kind of wildlife like to eat them, things like that. We'll be definitely installing some really nice interpretive signs. And then also working on improving the accessibility of the trail, smoothing out the surface, getting something a little more robust than just a dirt trail there. So it should really contribute to making it a really nice space.
And this trail in particular isn't the only one you have at Blandy. Obviously, you're the assistant curator for the Native Plant Trail. There are lots of trails for people to explore when they visit Blandy.
That's right. Yeah. So we have the Native Plant Trail. It's a big half-mile loop. We've got various other trails just scattered throughout the Arboretum. We're a 700-acre property, and there's some sort of trail, whether it be a gravel path, a road, a mowed grassy trail, all throughout the Arboretum. Definitely, yeah, lots of places to explore.
Melanie, I would imagine you get a lot of feedback from visitors that I would think that at least more than half of them, that's the reason why they visit Blandy is to explore the various trails and just see what's growing where and why.
Yeah, that's right, Janet. This is just such a beautiful place that people like to come out. No matter what time of year, there's always something new to see, something to discover, and the trails are a very big part of that.
September and October might be the prettiest times ever to visit Blandy.
Temperature wise, it's amazing. Yes.
Yeah, normally when we're talking about some of these events and we go through the list of, okay, it's a trail, so wear comfortable shoes, dress appropriately for the weather. You likely might not even need bug spray in September.
Maybe not.
We'll keep our fingers crossed.
That's right.
Yeah.
How will parking work that day?
The Pawpaw Trail is located out near the Ginkgo Grove area. It's at a different part of the Arboretum than most of our trails are located. So we will have parking out near the Ginkgo Grove, and that's where people who are coming to that event will park. So it will be a little bit different than where people usually park for our programs.
But it's still pretty accessible and easy to get to.
Yes, and we'll have signs up and we'll have volunteers here helping us make sure people find their way to the program.
And there are going to be crafts and activities. So this is a good family friendly event.
This is a family friendly event. I do think we have a table that will be set up for crafts that maybe both adults and children might like to do together. Of course, the big part of it is really the interpretive walks and really learning more about the pawpaws.
Well, and for some of us, it's going to be the pawpaw beer.
And that, yes, and the pawpaw beer as well. That's right.
That may end up having to be something that you do every year that becomes a thing that people look forward to September to get their pawpaw beer from Blandy.
Well, that's great. We hope that happens.
That would be a great fundraiser in order to keep maintaining all of the trails, this trail in particular.
That's exactly right.
Jack, do you have a favorite trail at Blandy?
Blandy's just such a great place. There's amazing stuff to see everywhere you go. Obviously, I'm a little bit partial to the Native Plant Trail because that's my baby right there. But no, they're all great spaces. And this Pawpaw Trail, this new one, is a really cool space. I'm really excited about it because, it's a really nice forested space. There's a lot of really big old trees. It just feels very calming and relaxing, especially on the hot days of summer. You're out in the meadow, out in the fields. It's so hot, but you go into the forest, everything cools down. You hear lots of birds out there. So it's a very cool spot. I'm excited to share it with everyone.
I love that. It sounds as cool, Melanie, as the Ginkgo Grove, only maybe a less odorous.
That's
Slightly less
true.
odoriferous, yes.
That's an important difference.
It's cool to explore in the springtime too, because the pawpaw trees, while they fruit in the fall, they flower in the spring. So you can go out in April and walk it and get a whole different experience seeing all the cool little pawpaw flowers out there.
That makes sense because most fruit trees start with some sort of flower.
That's right. And pawpaws have very funky little flowers. That'll be a whole thing we'll learn about on the walk. So it's a cool thing to explore.
And then before we know it, it'll be the end of October, early November, and it will be time to visit that Ginkgo Grove.
That's true. Yes, we're already planning our Ginkgo Gold weekends, October 25th and 26th, and November 1st and November 2nd. Of course, people can come out and visit the ginkgos anytime in between then, but those are the special weekends where we'll have special visitor services available.
Will you come back and do a show again in early October to give me all the details for those weekends?
I would love to do that. Yes.
So, Jack, what do you want people to know coming out for Pawpaws and Pints? What do you think people would get the most out of?
We're celebrating something that's really unique to us, right? Unique to the Appalachians. These pawpaws, they're right in the center of their range. They're quintessentially Virginian fruit. And so I just really encourage people to, come out here and see what all the fuss is about and maybe connect a little bit with the landscape by eating it. What better way to do it?
Hey, that works for a lot of other things. It should work just as well for this.
There you go.
Melanie, tell me one more time. When, where, and how do I get tickets?
September 13th from 1 to 5 p.m. Tickets are $20 per person, and they can be purchased on the website at blandy.virginia.edu.
And you have a limited number of tickets, so if they all sell in advance, there won't be tickets available at the gate. So you should go ahead and get your tickets now.
I would highly suggest it. They have been selling quickly already. So yes, I would get my ticket in advance for sure.
Thank you, Jack, for educating me on pawpaws today. I'm going to sound so smart when my husband gets home this evening.
You're very welcome.
And Melanie, we're going to work out a date for you to come back and talk about Ginkgo Gold weekends. But thank you for introducing me to pawpaws today.
Thank you, Janet.
I will be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of The Valley today, just a few minutes after noon. So meet me here then.